Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season A. It's been a long old while. I've had to just take things easy, but never mind. We're here. The program this evening is really about trying to address one or two things. As you all know, we're still talking about the issue of having the funds for the local government get to the hands of the local government people. As a side issue, one of the things that is really going on is that the local government funds are still being held by the state government, and the state government, apparently, the state house of assembly must what's the word? They must vote. 2/3 of each of the state house of assembly must vote to allow the funds meant for local government to go directly to the local government before it actually happens. So that's a fundamental issue that many of us are not aware of. I'm going to be bringing one or two people who are in the knowledge, who are in the know about this. I'll bring them onto the show and talk about this later on. But this topic today is about the health issues going on in Nigeria. So I might flip in between the broadcast. It's on Channels TV, by the way. Credit to channels. But let's listen to the bill that they're trying to put through the House, and then we'll listen to the former head of the Nigerian Medical Association and see what the thoughts are. Let's hear it. Here we go.
Well, we'll find out more about this as we start out, and we have in the studio here the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Healthcare Services, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. And he's also the past National Secretary General of the Nigerian Medical Association, so he would really have an understanding of how...
So he's the past National Secretary of the Nigerian Medical Association.
...the system works. And joining us virtually is Dr. Osao Enabulele, who's the President of the World Medical Association and former President, Nigerian Medical Association. Dr. Enabulele, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So this guy is the President of the World Medical Association, and is the former president for the Nigerian Medical Association. So I mean, we do know what we're talking about. The system is the problem, to be honest. It really is, and it is a shame that we're even having this discussion that many of our doctors are leaving. But let's listen to what they have to say here.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, channels.
So let's start here with you, Dr. Sununu. This bill, I mean, that's like in the health sector, right? And that's the conversation that everyone's talking. That's what everyone's talking about right now. What prompted this bill?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, let me thank you very much for re-inviting me after a very long while, and then also to thank Nigerians for still having confidence in our progressive Congress, and we're grateful that we are elected to also lead the country for the next 4 years. And we do hope it will be better because we have an experienced people that can make a difference, and we do hope that the confidence reposed in Nigeria will justify it. You see, we must understand how lawmakings are done so that we limit the way we express our anger. You see, lawmaking is about identifying a gap, and every lawmaker will try to identify where is a gap. And how can he perform to address such gap through a lawmaking? Now, the sponsor of the bill realized that doctors are living in mass out of the country for greener pasture and for other reasons.
We don't need to realize. We all know. We've seen the videos of many of our doctors in the UK here, that where I am. The doctors, they are coming in their droves. In fact, they've been worked like slaves because the government of Nigeria failed them. But let's listen on anyway.
And then he found that the only way we can do is to salvage the situation by trying to see how Nigeria can retain its specialists and also doctors that were trained. His approach was that he sponsored a bill. Now,
it's not a question. This is beyond the bill. This is the laws and everything. The reason why I'm doing this show is to really bring to our attention, as we as so-called citizens of that contraption. I still believe in Yoruba Nation, don't get me wrong. But for as long as we're in it, we're going to participate in highlighting the fault areas. That will make it more obvious to those of us still clamoring for one Nigeria, that one Nigeria is no longer the option. We need to go our separate ways. But we need to see the fault. The fault line lies in that fraudulent constitution, the inability for each of the areas to be able to carry out its own development as it chooses. Like in the days of the Western region under Obafemi Awolowo, the fact that all of the powers have been taken to the center is a real problem that is besetting, befalling any of the plans we want to have. Taking case for example, the funds that they're supposed to be given this federal account committee, something FAAC, the funds there, the federal government hands it down to the state refuses to hand it down to the local government because they have no constitutional powers. It's only until, for example, the state of assembly passes the 2/3 of the members vote for the funds to go into the hands of local government, and that's often, it's not well nigh impossible for that to happen because the governor and the state, they are often controlled by those who are above them and deciding who they're going to be, how they get into that position in the first place. So they wield a lot of power. The system is broken, and that is it's of no surprise that there's no electricity, no water, no light, no roads, no school, no bridges, no health, and so on and so forth. This is the real issue. Let's carry on with this. Let's watch this for a bit.
Every member has the right to present a bill to the National Assembly for consideration, subjective to the approval of Mr. Speaker or the Senate President, so that it can be deliberated open. And this was done, and it was granted. And it has passed the first reading and second reading, and it has been forwarded to committee. Now, the committee is an avenue that has been created, harness.
You see, all of this is talk. Like I said, in the words written, they are powerful words. But the system, the implementation of it is the problem. So all of this, we are not interested in. This is all a game. They are now playing the game to make us, they're talking about it now. It's all a game. What we need is in our communities to collectively come out and demand for our healthcare and everything else. And it stems from taking active part in local governance. We have the right to participate in governance under Section 14.2a. Participation of the people shall be mandated according to 14.2c. That is, sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom the government through this constitution derives all its powers. 14.2a. That is exactly what we need to be using, and we need to be driving this point home at all times. Let me see if I can actually show you that piece of information as well, because the issue that they're talking about now. I'm showing you now. You can see here. This is just 2022. Here's funds for each of the states that has not got into the hands of the people. So let's go and look at Lagos. Lagos, for example, 96 million. 96 million was allocated to local government, and it has not been given to the local government because of they have not, 2/3 of the state house of assembly have not voted in favor of that for the funds to be released to the local government, and that is clearly wrong. The state house of the governors and the state of assembly they should do this as a matter of course. This is a matter of course, but they're not doing it. So that's just a side issue again. I'm just bringing that to your attention. Let's go and look a bit more at this information I want to provide pass to you quickly. Where is it now? No, you're right. I just want to I'm just going to reiterate this point quickly because it is so important. I cannot overemphasize how important this is. I cannot overemphasize how important it is. So let me just quickly show you that before I go ahead. I want you to know that. You see, this is what I want you to really bear in mind. So when we are looking at things and we're talking about it, it says here, it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government through this constitution derives all its powers and authority. 14.2a. 14.2c. The participation by the people in their governance shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So everything I'm talking about, it really predicates on this. It is a very important point that we must continue to emphasize. So I cannot overemphasize how important that is. So that's why I just wanted to just show you that quickly. So now let's go back to what it's saying. So you need to understand that without your participation, nothing will change. They are just going to talk to make you think that you're doing something. They're doing something. That you have to rely on them. They want to just make you lose your interest and trust them again. You have to participate in your governance. That is the only way you will get the change that you want. Active participation. Whether we have Yoruba Nation, whether we're staying in this useless Nigeria, and I doubt we will. you have to participate in your governance. That's what I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make. So let's go on.
Experience from public.
So you see,
stakeholders, and what have you, so that they can come and sharpen the thinking of the particular lawmaker so that the gap can be appropriately filled.
You see, the process in Nigeria is wrong. Those who are going for positions within our governance, they are handpicked by political elites who want to control the system and thereby exploit the system. So whoever they put in place, this no, remember, I put you there. What I tell you is what you do. The people who are you elect, they have no free hand. They are not working for the people. They are working for those who unpicked them. That is a problem. And until we address that fundamental issue, we're not going anywhere. So all of this talk is just useless talk. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll forward to where the World Medical Association man, Dr. Enabulele speaks, because that's more important. But I want us to understand that participation is the key to actually changing what is going on in that contraption. Without your participation, nothing will change. Let's go ahead.
It doesn't mean that once it is presented, it is going to pass for the third reading and it becomes a law.
I'm sure a lot of Nigerians know that already.
Yes.
But the question is, why even begin to think in that direction about suggesting or proposing that those who have studied for 5 years will not be given their license?
Now, if you ask me the content, I will tell you that the content, now going personal.
That is all. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say.
Let's see what he has to say. As a specialist.
Let's see what he has to say.
And also, I've been a medical activist over time. Until date, I try to see that whatever we do, we justify services that we're going to render to Nigeria. Now,
that's empty talk. I want us to begin to really as Africa, as so-called citizens in that contraption Nigeria, we need to begin to read between the lines. They are making all of this now. Look, they're trying that. They're not trying anything. You need to participate in your governance. Without your participation, they're not going to do anything different. They will just keep making excuses. So I'm not going to go forward and talk about it. Let me hear what this guy has to say here. I want to hear what Enabulele has to say. So let's listen to this guy here, Dr. Enabulele.
So I want to appreciate the presence of my good brother, who's making us proud, Honorable Tanko Yusuf Sununu. I want to first say that to be fair to Honorable Tanko Sununu, I believe he understands clearly the fact that this is one bill that really would, if you want me to be, with all due respect, a blot, what I consider a blot on the escutcheon of the House of Representatives. Because this, honestly, in as much as all representatives have rights to, formulate bills, but the kind of bill formulate also we tell the kind of quality, the character, and of course the whole essence of that chamber. So I think there is also room for us to reflect and say, look, do we make use of our research abilities? Do we make use of the resources available to us? So that when you come up with something at such a hallowed, within the presence of the House of Representatives, that, look, this is for serious business. I think this bill, seriously speaking, and I've made my comments, preliminary comments on this, was ill-advised.
This is the president of the World Medical Association, Dr. Osahon Enabulele. So he's speaking from a position of authority on this subject. It's a waste of time. The bill, I was saying to you, the people who are there, they are all handpicked. And okay, you can raise the bill. Oh, you're doing a great job. Because they are being controlled. They are being remote controlled. And that is what they need to be answerable to you. If you don't participate in your governance, they will not be answerable to you. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Let's go ahead and watch this for a bit.
We're thought out. It clearly was unresearched. Clearly is one bill that we should not be talking about going to the public hearing. Because if it comes to the public hearing, I wonder how the House of Representatives will carry its face at the end of the day, because clearly it shows that from even the statistics read out by the House of Representatives member who sponsored this bill, he said they will have less than 10,000 doctors in Nigeria. That clearly flies in the face of the reality. And of course, the figures that were even projected by the Medical and Data Council as far back as 30th December 2022. So where did they get these figures from? Where did they get, that is not to say that we do not appreciate the passion with which he tried to push it, but he obviously was offering a cure that was even going to be worse than the ailment that he sought to, of course, address. Clearly, the issues of brain drain are well known to us. For over 2 decades, we'll be talking about these things. So I expect that all he needed to have done, at the very least, is to even Google. And you'll see all the challenges that have led to this,
sorry state of affairs.
brain drain phenomenon. And this particular brain drain phenomenon is more preeminent in African regions, Nigeria inclusive, where they have failed to address what we call the push factors. Now, there are a lot of factors that are pushing physicians and other professionals away, not just doctors. There are many other professionals. That's why, again, I felt that this bill was very discriminatory. Yeah, I mean, it was very selective, and of course, in contradistinction to the provisions of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, which clearly does not allow this level of segregation, this level of exclusivity, and this level of discrimination. So there are push factors that are pushing Nigerians away from Nigeria, not just doctors. Today, we're talking about the whole issue of insecurity. That is enough to push anybody away from Nigeria. I mean, if you have to be very honest with yourself. But again, within the professional process, we're looking at the whole issue of indecent working conditions. And Honorable Tanko Sununu has very well adumbrated on this, very articulately, and I commend him for that. He knows it because he was Secretary General of the Nigerian Medical Association. So we still have places in Nigeria where people are just working in what I consider rodent-infested environments, insecure environments. The other day we heard of a doctor was, murdered in the course of attending to his clients, his patients. How will that kind of family feel? There are people who are kidnapped in the course of their duty. You pay ransoms, huge ransoms to the kidnappers. Nobody assists you. Even the government turns a blind eye to it. And when you are recovered, how do you expect that physician to feel? So the issue of security, the issue of violence, the issue of poor recognition of even what the physician does in Nigeria, these are issues. And of course, the uncompetitive wages. Today, we all know that Nigerians are living, obviously, in one of the worst worst periods ever, with due respect, in terms of how the economy has impacted on their well-being. Doctors are included in this. Nurses are included in this. Pharmacists are included in this, and other professionals, and indeed, ordinary citizens of Nigeria. So there are clear issues that needed to have been engaged by, the member who raised this issue. And Africa today is worst hit by the whole issue of brain drain. And that is why it astonishes me, because the countries of the global north are doing everything to attract the healthcare workers from Africa, from low, middle-income countries, because they don't also have enough, because they're not producing enough. So the countries that apparently are producing, including Nigeria, are not able to even put on ground effective, pragmatic, and dynamic retentive mechanisms to retain their workforce. They are happy losing these workers to other economies. But again, I think we need to have a comprehensive approach to, of course, dialectically assessing the whole issue of brain drain again. I gave kudos to the then president, the military head of state of Nigeria, Babangida. He was one person who understood that there needed to be a comprehensive approach to the issue of the brain drain phenomenon. It's not new to Nigeria, it's not new to the world, it's not new to Africa. But what is strange is that in spite of the cornucopia, the evidence available to us in terms of the whole issue of the factors pushing our workers away, we have not been able to get the necessary relevant organs of government to realistically, transparently address these issues. Unlike the House of Representatives member, I think that is one issue, that is one area I would like to give him kudos. At least he recognizes that this is a major challenge. But there are some government officials who told Nigerians that we had more than enough doctors in Nigeria. Which flew in the face of the reality. So I think for me, there is need for us to understand the issues, and then from there, more realistically engage with stakeholders. Importantly, the relevant health professional organizations, including the Nigerian Medical Association, to look at how we can once again reappraise these issues and present more purposive, more progressive, and more enduring solutions to the issue of brain drain. Thank you.
Okay, so let me ask you.
So I don't want to be. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be talking about the questions that we don't need to question. The guy has said everything that needs to be said here. Maybe I will let her ask the question, but it's not, it's not really. This is a fundamental issue. This is Africa-wide, like I said. And there's also the lack of proper planning by successive government to address and halt the brain drain. And the things that you mentioned, lack of safety, lack of security, danger to life of the people, physicians being killed in treating the patients. These are fundamental issues. That is why your participation is important. If you start participating in your government from a local level, you can make the change. It starts with that. If you do not participate in your governance, whether we have Yoruba Nation, it still be the same thing, to be honest with you. Because it's better we start now. That's what I want to say. What this man said, he said everything that it needs to be said about that. It is clear to us that the entire system has failed. We don't have a viable healthcare system. Many people are trying to leave the country. It's not only doctors, like I said, many other professions are trying to leave. Accountants, lawyers, doctors, you name it. Because this environment is not safe. It's not safe. That's the clearest evidence. People can tell you it go better, it go better. It's not about being better. The fact of the matter is that it isn't. And there is no, as we speak, a former governor of Zamfara State was, is it Zamfara? Was recently, he was abducted. Now they freed him, but apparently they paid, unconfirmed, they paid 4 million naira to free him. And that tells you, a former governor. If people who are so-called former government officials are not safe, then what do you expect? How do you expect a doctor or nurse or lawyer to be safe in that country? So our participation is sacrosanct in all of this. I just wanted to state that. I'm not going to play any more of this because I don't want to belabor the point. I just want us to really understand that the point where we are right now, the system has broken. And here is the clearest evidence. When doctors and everybody else is leaving, it means that system is not working. So please, when you get this broadcast, do share it. What we try and do in this broadcast here, and I want you to believe that in your community you have the solutions. Just stating the problems alone will not solve anything. You need to begin to work together within your community to find solutions and actively participate in those solutions. Because if you sit down and you listen to this one is talking about the problem, that one is talking about, but you're not coming up with the solutions. And one of the best way to solve the problem is coming together as a community, setting up committees, holding your government officials to account by participating in your governance. That is the way to solve a myriad of problems. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop it there. I don't want to talk anymore because just play back and listen to what the doctor said. There are so many. This is Africa wide. We need to think out of the box. We need to stop this dogma of something God will help us. If we don't help ourselves by participating in our governance, no God can help us. No God can help us. And that's going to be the title of this broadcast. So I'll leave it there because I don't want to just talk. We need to have a lot of impact in what we're saying and how we want to motivate. The idea of my broadcast is to motivate us into taking collective action. We have to be motivated to taking collective action for our own mutual benefits. If we don't do that, nothing will change. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. The song says, how long will I go to suffer? It still remains a valid question now. How long will I go to suffer? How long? So please, when you get the broadcast, please go ahead and share. You're, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. The solution is us participating by holding to account government officials and not letting those who handpicked them into as puppets to be controlling them. We take back control. That is the only solution to our myriad of problems. So let's begin in that process. So you're, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Go ahead, click the red button. Like you see in the small little thing on the corner there, you can see there. It says it's giving you the sign. Click on and subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll back later on. Thank you and bye for now.